All right, so today we're going to talk about graphing systems of equations in standard form. Up until now, when we've been graphing equations, we've been graphing them in what's called slope-intercept form. However, equations won't always be in slope-intercept form. Sometimes they'll be in what's called standard form. And in order to graph them, you'll have to take them from standard form and put them into slope-intercept form in order to be able to graph them. So we're going to take a look at some examples of equations that are in standard form. We're going to move them from standard form into slope-intercept form, and then we're going to be able to graph them. Now, what's going to happen with this is you're going to see some equations that are that consistent and dependent version that we haven't seen pop up too much, well, even at all on any of your assignments lately. If you'll remember, there's three types of, if you have two equations, there's three types. Equations could be consistent and independent, which is where they have one solution. This is consistent and independent, C and I, where they are two separate lines and they have one solution, one place where they intersect. Two lines could be inconsistent, where they're parallel to each other and they have no solutions. Or there was that third option I told you guys, where when you graph the two lines, they could end up being the exact same line. And I said that this option is called consistent and dependent. That's a D, not a B, sorry. For some reason I wanted to write a B this morning. Yeah, that's supposed to be a D as in dog. Okay. So up until now, you've only really seen these two show up on your assignments because we've been graphing things in slope-intercept form. I haven't thrown this one in because it's way too obvious when it's this one, when it's just in slope-intercept form. But when it's in standard form, it's not completely obvious when it's going to be consistent and dependent right away. And so let me show you some examples of lines that are in standard form, what that looks like, and how you change it from standard form into slope-intercept form. So standard form looks like, sorry, give me 1 second. I can't just make these up off the top of my head, otherwise they're going to be super nasty. So let me do, yeah, okay, this will be good. So standard form will be 2x plus 4y is equal to 6. That's an equation of a line that's in standard form. Now you've seen those recently because we've done problems with substitution that look like that, and we've done problems with elimination that look like that. Now this is something that you've seen in the last week or so, right? You guys hopefully haven't had that bad of amnesia that you wouldn't recognize this.
I had short-term memory loss.
Okay, but like it happened like seconds ago. We just corrected an assignment. Okay. All right. So this is called standard form, where you have both x and y on the same side. X comes first. You have a number in front of both of them, and then you have the constant, the number that doesn't have x or y, on the other side. If you want to get it into slope-intercept, you have to solve for x to get it into slope-intercept. So to solve for, or sorry, not solve for x, solve for y to get it into slope-intercept. So if I want to solve for y here, I need to get 2x onto the other side. How do I move? Yeah, so I'm going to minus 2x from both sides. Now when I do that, 2x cancels from here. Now 6 minus 2x is just 6 minus 2x, right? Hopefully I've hammered that into your heads enough. Maybe? Okay, some person said what, so apparently I haven't yet. So on the left-hand side, this is 4y. On the right-hand side, I could write this as 6 minus 2x. I'm going to put them in the opposite order, though, and I'm going to put it as negative 2x and plus 6. This is the same as 6 minus 2x. I just switched the order. And the reason I did that is so that I can have the x term come first. Kind of, sort of. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want this to look like y equals mx plus b. I want the x to come first and the constant to come second. Kind of, sort of. So I could have had it be 6 minus 2x, but I want the x term to come first. Does that make any sense? Tiny bit? Itty bit?
I can tell it's math.
Okay, you can tell it's math. That's good. That's good. We're getting somewhere. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by the number in front of y. So I'm going to divide this by 4. I'm going to divide this by 4. And I'm going to divide this by 4. So 4 divided by 4 goes away, and this makes plain y. Now, negative 2 over 4, what does that reduce to as a fraction? So this is negative 1/2 times x. And then 6 over 4, what does that reduce to as a fraction?
Do you want to keep it as a fraction?
We can keep it as a fraction, or we can make it as a decimal. It doesn't matter. This one has to stay a fraction, though.
1.5.
So plus 1 and 1/2. If you wanted to make that 1.5, that would be fine. This one has to stay a fraction, though. So this must stay fraction. This one can be fraction or decimal. Doesn't matter. Fraction or decimal. So now if we wanted to graph this, we would go up 1.5 on the y-axis. And then from there we would go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, or up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. We connect the points, and that would be our graph. Does that make any sense? Kind of, sort of? All right. Let me give you an example from your assignment so that I'm not making these up off the top of my head. Let me show you. Yeah, nope, that's what I'm doing. Because I'm a crazy person. I'm giving you some answers. So let's take a look at another one that we're going to do together, and I'm going to have you guys do one on your own. Let's do 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 8. So we're going to change this from standard form into slope-intercept form. So the first thing we need to do is get this 3x onto the other side. So how do we move positive 3x onto the other side? So I'm going to minus 3x from both sides. Now, when I do that, it goes away from here, and I've got positive 2y on the left equal to. On the right-hand side, I'm going to rewrite this, instead of being negative 8 minus 3x, I'm going to write it as negative 3x minus 8. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want the x to come first. Kind of, sort of. My next step is to divide everything by the number in front of y, which in this case is 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So y divided, or 2y divided by 2 is y. Now this I'm going to leave as a fraction. The number in front of x you leave as a fraction. So this is negative 3 over 2x. And you don't make it, like you leave it improper. You don't make it a mixed number. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So if you were to graph this, you would count down 4 spaces. And then from there, either go down 3, right 2, or up 3, left 2, the opposite. Kind of, sort of? Yeah, kid.
Since this is on our assignment,
Uh-huh.
do we have to redo it?
Yes. I'm a mean person. I'm going to make you look back at your notes and just copy something down. I'm the meanest of mean people.
No. Yeah, that's so attached.
Good Lord. All right.
Long weekend of sleep.
All right, so I want you guys to try one on your own. I want you to try x plus 2y equals 4. Or sorry, negative 4, negative 4. X plus 2y equals negative 4. When you think you've got it rewritten as in slope-intercept form, raise your hand. When you think you've got it written in slope-intercept form, raise your hand. Okay, so just to go through this really quickly, there was just one thing that came up. So when you're getting rid of the x from both sides here, so minus x, just remember that on the right-hand side here, this is the same thing as minus 1x. So minus x minus 4, and then you've got 2y. This is the same thing as minus 1x. So when you divide everything by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, this becomes y is equal to this negative x over 2. This is the same thing as negative 1x over 2. So this is the same as negative 1/2 x. You could leave it as negative x over 2. That's fine. But if you're trying to find your slope would be negative 1/2 in this case. And then it would be minus 2. All right. You guys did pretty good on that. Let me hand out your assignment. You're going to need a piece of graph paper for this because we're going to go over graphing it too. And so I'm going to hand out the assignment. You guys are going to need to grab a piece of graph paper.
I have a question.
Yeah, Keith.
So when we divide the x part, will x not be a whole? It will just
Then it would be whatever it is.
Hey, we're still on camera. Hello, camera. Camera? Oh, you got YouTube. Yeah, we're gonna be the best. Mr. Taft is the best.
I have a total of 500 views so far.
Holy cow, 500, you know how many
Your
views I
internet
have?
payment.
19 subscribers, 500 views.